Hi there, fellow devs and tech enthusiasts. Welcome back to Programming Encyclopedia, the ultimate hub where coding, innovation, and creativity gets to collide. I am your host, Prof. C, and here we dive deep into all things tech, from clean coding practices and system design to mind-blowing projects and software development tips to level up your game. Whether you are just a coding ninja, coding master, whatever they call you, or you're just a beginner in your coding journey, there's something here for everyone. We break down complex stuff to make it look easy, to simplify the hard stuff and make sure that you have a ton of fun along the way. So then just buckle up, hit that subscribe button and like button and your notification bell to enable it so that you get my content first whenever I drop. Get ready to code smarter, code quicker, and build cooler projects with us.
So when you open your Visual Studio, this is what you're going to see, and the next thing you hit the console app, which is the template that we're going to create the application based on that. Then you click next. Then this is the project name where you configure your new project, and what you need to do, you need to name your application Personal Finance Manager. So then this is the name of our application, and then you're going to hit next. And the framework that you need to target the .NET 8.0 long-term support if you're running on the latest .NET, and you just hit next and let the project get created. Wonderfully, our project is now created, and then this is what you're going to see. And simple stuff, what you need to do first, because remember, on this project, the main file where the program logic will reside, it's here on the program.c# or cs, because this is the console or command line application. And what you need to do, you just need to align this and hit delete. And the next thing, or first thing first, before doing anything, let's first install our package. So then I do it the other way. I just come here at the package manager console button. You can right click and go here on the manage NuGet packages, but I come here on the console and type install dash package space Newtonsoft.Json, and you hit enter. Congratulations, and then now you have got your application package or library that you're going to use, our Newtonsoft.Json, installed. And then now we can take it back to output and we start writing code. Remember, as I always say here, we write everything from scratch. And what you need to do, you need to start by saying using system, let's just rectify that, and then it's using system, and then we do another using system dot collection dot generic. So this is what we always do, and then we close that and we do another using system dot IO. And then we close that, and then we do the using Newtonsoft.Json, and we close that. So then what you need to do now, you need to come and say namespace and give the project namespace, which is the Personal Finance Manager. Let's just rectify our casing. Personal Finance manager and do it like this, and you open that, and then inside that, that's where we're going to nest our class program, and inside that class, that's where we're going to nest our logic now. So then this is where we're going to list to store expenses and variable for budget and savings goals. So what you need to do, we start by static. Let's say static list, because we need to list from a string and retrieve it later. So then let's do static list expense then we say expenses. Let's select expenses equals to new list, and we list expense. Right, and we do static again, static decimal. Remember, we're dealing now with numbers. We do static decimal budget equals to 0, and we do again static decimal savings goal equals to 0, and we move to static decimal, and we get our total savings, let's say equals to 0, and we just go 2 steps down, 1 2, and we do static void main, and we do that, and we nest what we need to put inside. And then remember what we're going to put inside here. We're going to call our method to load saved data from a file, and another method to display the main menu, which we're going to call it load data and show main menu. So then let's say load data, and we do it like this, and let's say show main menu, and we do it like that, and we just go outside to step down 1 2, and now we're going to write our main menu. So let's say static void show main menu, and let's just do this tab, and we're good. And what we're going to do, we will say while true, and we console dot write line. But before writing anything, let's do console dot clear so that we can be able to clear. Then we can now console write line, and let's put what we need to write. So we will say welcome to personal finance personal finance manager. Let's just rectify the spelling in here, and then we're good to go. And we will say welcome to personal finance manager, and we close that and we console dot write line. Again, this is where we list our menu. So we'll say 1, yes, add expense. Add expense. So then, just to save time, what we can do, if you come here and do Control D, Control D, Control D, if you're running on Windows, you duplicating. So then this console write line to list our menu, we can just change this to 2 and change the menu name to view expenses. So then let's just add as here and say view expenses. So number 3, what can we add? We can add how we want to set a budget. So then let's add set budget. Number 4, what we need to add track saving goals. So then the track saving goals is the one that is going to help you track your goals in terms of saving your money. So then let's say track savings goal, and then let's just duplicate it 2 times more, 1, 2, and then number 5, we're giving a user a chance to press exit. So then let's say exit. So then the last one, we need to give a user the selection. So then we will say select an option, and we give the user 1 to 5 and do it like that. Just put a space in there, and then now we're going to create a switch. If you know what is a switch, we're going to create a switch statement. So then we're going to do switch console.readline, and we do that, and inside our switch, that's where we nest our case, and we'll say case 1 for that menu, and we do add expense. That's the function, and we do a break. So then we now need to put second case. So then let's just move it back nicely, and we do view expense. So then we will do view expense. We'll do view expense. So then with the view expense, what is supposed to happen, we're doing the very same break. So then we having a break. So then we're going to have 5 cases based on our menu. So then now after this break, we're doing again another case. So then let's do the same and put the set budget as case number 3, and we do it, and we add the break, and we do case number 4, and we call it track saving goals. Track savings goal, and we add a break and put case number 5. So then on the case number 5, it's where we're going to save data entered by our user. So then we will do now save data, save data, and we need to now exit. So we will do environment dot exit, environment dot exit, and we need to put a break. So right after the break, we just need to put a default so that users will then have a default. So we'll do default, and we console write line. So what are we going to write in there? We need to have that default to make sure that if a user enters something that is incorrect or it's out of the context, the application needs to tell that specific user that invalid option, please try again. So then let's put that in to say invalid option, please try again. Let's just write option correct, which is that. So then, as always, when we close the switch, we need to put a break, because remember here we are collecting input from a user, so then we need to use a switch. We need to use a switch. So that we will just maybe come out of here and say 1 2 and do the static void add expense. Let's just rectify the add expense spelling. Add expense. So what we're going to do, we need to console clear first. So we console clear first because remember we're collecting input from a user, so we need to give a user capability to clear if they enter wrong input or wrong value. So we console clear, and we now can console write line, and we need to write what we need to write. So let's write add a new expense. So after that, we just need to go down a bit and console write line again, because this is about collecting data from a user. So then let's say, let's make the user choose. So then we will do enter category, and we say e.g. food, transport, entertainment. So then we will then have to do the string. Remember we use the dictionary there to list all the category inside the string. So then we say string category, string category equals to console.readline to keep the console open. So then we will then have to do console.write. Let's select write, and we do it like that. We say enter amount, So now we need to do our if statement. That's where it gets tricky. That's where it gets late. So then we will then have to do the math. So let's say if a decimal dot try pass, then we console dot read line and we do out decimal amount. Right, and we close that. But we can do it this way. We can then put our expense inside here and say expenses dot add, and we do the new expense, and we get it from that category. So then we do category equals to category. Okay, let me just do that. So let's just make it capital C here, and we do the same with amount and everything else. So then we will do amount equals to amount, and we do the date equals to date dot time. Let me just rectify that. So we do date equals to date time now. So when we do date equals to the date time now, we capturing the date of when data was inserted. So then we will then say console dot write line to show that it was successful. We can return a message to say expense added successfully. Right, and now if we need to have else, so we will say else console write line and we do invalid amount. Please try again. We'll say invalid amount. Please enter a valid number. Please enter a valid number. And we just go out again, 2 step down, 1 2, and we say console dot write line, and we can say press any key to return. Press any key to return to the main menu. press any key to return to the main menu, and we read the key. So we need to say console dot read key, console dot read key. Then outside that, we just need to go one way down, 1, 2, and this is where we're going to view our expense. So we will do static void view expense, and we do it like that. And first thing first, we console dot clear. So that we can console dot write line. So this is where we will see our expense history. Now we're going to do an if statement. So we will say if expense we will say if expense dot count, open, and then we close, then we say equals to 0, and inside our if, that's where we're going to have our console dot write line, and we put no expense recorded, no expenses are recorded. Like I always say, when we have if, we need to have else. So we will say else, and now we need to make a loop to search inside expense. So then what we need to do to make a loop seed inside our else, we need to say for each var expense in expenses, and we console write line. We console write line expense. So we go outside that, and then we go all the way down, and we console dot write line to tell a user that press any key to return to the main menu. So then we can copy this to save time and stick it in there. So then we will then have to do console read key to read the key that is going to be inserted by the user. So then now what we need to do, we need to go and set a budget. So let's set a budget. Let's do static void set budget. Let's just rectify that. Set budget. And we first do console clear then we console write line. So this is now where you set the budget. So then let's say set monthly budget. So then we need to enter our monthly budget. So we'll do another console write line, and we do enter your budget amount. Enter your budget amount. Like always, we will then have to do our if statement. So we'll say if we can copy the very same if statement we did here. It's same because we're using the try parse console, and we read line and we out that decimal. Just to save time, let's say if, and we have that in there, and we open that, and inside that, that's where we'll have our budget equals to amount. And we console now write line. We console now write line. So we need to do the $sign and say budget set to, because remember we're dealing with figures. So then we will say budget set to, and we do another $sign, and we get the budget. So we get the budget. We get the budget. So like always, we will then have our else. So let's say else statement. So we console write line, and we do invalid amount, please enter valid number. So we can copy this. We can copy this in here. So like we always did, we need now to console write line, tell the user press any key to return to the main menu. So we copy that and stick it in here. And we need to read key. So we do console read key, and we go out of that, and we now need to build the track saving goals. So then let's say static void track savings goal. And first thing first, we console dot clear, console dot clear, then we console dot write line. So we need to say track your saving goals in there. So let's say track your savings goal. And quickly let's do console.writeLine. Let's do console.writeLine, and we do enter your savings goals amount, so which will be enter your savings goals amount, enter your savings goals amount. So we do the very same if using the try pass, so then we can copy that and put it here. And now what we can do, we can then have say savings goal it needs to be equals to goal. No, it needs to say goal, and we console read line. And now we need to say savings goal set, like we always did on the budget. So we will say dollar and say savings goal set to and we say savings goal. Now we need to have our else. So we will then have to say else console write line, and we do invalid amount, please enter valid number. So then outside that, we can then have do the remaining amount. So we need to say decimal remaining amount equals to savings goal minus savings goals minus total savings. This is where we do maths. We do the calculation. So we now have to say console.writeLine and as always we do the dollar sign in there, and we say you need X amount, so we get the amount which is the remaining amount. more to reach your goal. To reach your goal. And we do console dot read. But before console dot read, let's just give the customer this set like we always use, so then we can just copy and paste that in there, and we move to the static void save data. So then we just go outside there and we do static void save data. Var data equals to new, and then what is data we aiming to see? We're aiming to see expenses equals to expenses. So then let's just rectify that to be the capital letter E, and we do budget equals to budget, and we do savings goal equals to savings goal, and we do also total savings. Let's just make it capital letter T, and we close that. So what we're going to do, we're going to put that in a file. So we will do file dot write all text. Let's say file dot write all text, and inside that file we say data dot JSON, and we do the JSON convert to serialize that. So then we can say JSON convert dot serialize object, and we pass in what? Data, and we close that. We just go outside a bit again, 1 2, and we do the static void, and we load data. And instead of that, maybe let's do it like this, and here that's where we're going to have our if, and inside the if we can say file dot exist. Then we look for that file name, data dot JSON, and we do var data equals to JSON convert dot deserialize object, and we do dynamic file dot read all text, and we give that data.json. We just close that, and we do the same for expense, budget, and the savings. So then for the expense, we need to just say expenses equals to JSON convert dot deserialize object and we get a list, and inside that list, that's where we'll get the expense. We get the expense, and then after that, that's where we will do data.expenses to string, and we close that. Let's just check that. It needs to say expense, just like that, and then we do budget equals to data.budget, and same as the savings goal equals to data.savings goal, same as total savings. Then we will have our stuff right. So then the next thing, we need to go and create a model. So then you can just maybe come here and right click, say add folder and new folder, call it model, and inside that folder, then that's where you can add the new item, and the item, you select this class and you give it expense.cs. And then what you need to do, you need to come and get rid of that, and you write class expense, and you do public string, and you get category, your getters and setters, and you do public decimal, and you get the amount, and you set and get, and then you do public date time, just write date time, let's do date time, then we say date, and we do it like that, and you go down and do public override string, and you do to string. And what do we need to return? So what we need to return, we do the $, and curly brackets inside, and we do date dot to short date string. And we just do the math. Minus. Then we do category. Then we do the $sign, and we nest the amount. And we just need to have that in there. So we save that, and we save that. Then now your program contains the main logic for your finance manager, including the main menu, method for user input, and your data persistence. So then the expense.cs define the expense class that we just did to represent each individual expense with our properties that we have used, like your category, amount, and date. And maybe the data.json, the file we're going to use to store expenses, budget, and savings goal data. And this file is going to be generated at runtime when you save data. So that's just how it is. And now let's just go ahead and give you some more time to get this right, and then we can now test. Okay, now let's just go ahead and test and see our personal finance manager, how is it performing. So then, like always, you just come and hit the run button. Now our application is starting. Let's see. Now our application has started. Let's see as it starts. Like we have done, welcome to Personal Finance Manager, and we're now selecting from 5 menu. So then let's select add expense. Hit 1 and enter. And now, wow, it says add new expense. So the expense will be food. So let's type food and enter amount for food, and we will enter amount for food, let's say 2,000 rand, and we hit that. It's invalid. So then what we need to do, we need to do it like this. So then let's say add expense, and we do food, and we enter the amount. Expense added successfully. Now we have added that, and now let's hit any key, and now let's set the budget. Let's select 3 for budget. So then the budget, let's put 7,000 in there. Budget is set. As you can see, now we can go back and add another expense before we can track our expense. So then now let's put transport. Let's put transport, and for transport let's put another 2,000, and it's added. And then now we can select number 4 to track. Let's first select number 2 to view our expenses. You can see now the expense history on this day of this month in this year. The food it's 2000, and transport is 2000. And we can see that, and now we can say press any key to return, and now we can now select 4 to track saving goals, and let's enter our saving that. So then the saving is set to that. So it will tell us that you need 1000 more to reach your goal. And now let's track your saving goals, and we do the same thing. It's telling us exactly. So then that's just the financial manager for your personal needs, or the personal finance manager. And that's a wrap. You have just built your very own personal finance manager in C#. How awesome is that? We have covered everything from setting up a simple console application and tracking expense and managing your budget, and even saving your data using JSON serialization. So then this project is not only practical but also a great way to sharpen your C# skills. Now it's your turn. I'd love to hear your plan to customize or expand on this project. Maybe you want to add more features like recurring expense or exporting reports. Drop your thoughts, questions, or any cool ideas in the comments below. I'd love to chat with you. If you have enjoyed this tutorial and learned something new, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Programming Encyclopedia, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on future projects. Your support really helps and the channel grow, keeps me motivated to create more awesome content for you. Until next time, keep coding and take your projects to the next level. Happy coding, everyone.